I noticed that Euler's methods seem to be somewhat prevalent in the free response questions that have been covered on the College Board BC YouTube live streams, so I wanted to make a video talking about them. This is chapter 7.1 in our textbook, which also included slope fields, so I'm going to talk about both topics in this video. I'm going to start with slope fields. If we're going to talk about slope fields, we're going to have to start talking about differential equations, which is what we have over here that's been circled. Right? Differential equations are a bit different than regular equations, right? If we were to compare that to, for example, x plus 4 is equal to 2, one of the ways that this equation over here is different than this equation over here is that when we're solving for x is a number, right? In this case, x would be -2. When we're solving, what we're solving for in a differential equation is no longer a number. We're solving for a function. We're solving for a function that satisfies this equation. Because we have to think about, what is this equation saying? This equation is saying a function y's derivative is equal to itself, y, divided by x. So picking a random function that will satisfy this equation isn't obvious. So we have to have different methods of determining these functions that satisfy these equations. So the first example is we're going to solve this initial value problem where dy dx is equal to y divided by x and y of 1 is equal to 3. I'll talk more about this part later. But first, we're going to use the method of separation of variables. Now we have covered this in class before, but to go through it, right, if dy dx is equal to y over x, one thing we can do is multiply both sides by dx and divide both sides by y, and we'll get dy divided by y is equal to dx divided by x. Afterwards, now that we have the differential associated with the correct variable, we can integrate both sides with respect to the variables. So the antiderivative, or the integral of dy divided by y would be natural log of y, and the integral of dx over x would be natural log of x. Now remember, this is an indefinite integral, so we have to have a constant of integration, and this is probably the most common mistake that Calc 1 and Calc 2 and many more Calc students make, in that we forget the constant of integration. You have to remember, when we're evaluating an indefinite integral, right? For example, the integral of x dx. We're trying to find a function who satisfies, that is the antiderivative of x, right? But so yes, x squared over 2, if we were to take the derivative of that, it would be x, but also x squared plus any constant, right? Because if you take the derivative of a constant, it just disappears. So the solution, or the solution of a indefinite integral, is a family of functions that satisfy this problem. Moving forward though, we can subtract natural log of x from both sides. And using our log properties, it's a log minus a log, so we can take the ratio of the arguments. So now we have natural log of y divided by x is equal to c. If we exponentiate both sides, right, raise both sides using e, the e's and natural logs kind of cancel out, and we get y divided by x is equal to e to the c. To make our answer a little bit cleaner, we can say, okay, just let e to the c be equal to another constant k. After multiplying both sides by x, we know that y is equal to kx. Now this is our general solution, right? If we were to take, let's think about that, right? Our general solution to our differential equation, dy divided by dx is equal to y over x. The general solution to this differential equation would be y is equal to kx. Let's check, all right? Because remember, this stuff makes sense. So dy dx, the derivative of y, if y is equal to this, the derivative of y should be just k. But over here, it says that should be equal to y over x. But what is y? Y is that equation over there. Y is equal to kx. So if we make a little substitution, we get kx over x, and as long as x doesn't equal 0, we get that dy dx is equal to k. So our solution, y is equal to kx, satisfies our differential equation. Now remember, this is just a general solution, right? There's a whole family of functions that satisfy this differential equation. Namely because of this k, right? K could be 2, k could be negative 100, k could be 1, right? But no matter what value k is, it's still going to satisfy our differential equation. So in order to have a particular solution, a specific solution that will satisfy this differential equation, we need this initial value, which is why this is called an initial value problem. We are given that the solution to our differential equation, evaluated at 1, is equal to 3, which is right here. So, since we know that our function that satisfies our differential equation, evaluated at 1, is 3, we can substitute those values into our general solution. And after doing the necessary work, we find that k is equal to 3. So that means our particular solution, so a solution that satisfies our differential equation as well as our initial value, would be y is equal to 3x. Now if we were to graph it, we know how to graph lines, right? This is y is equal to 3x. So it's a line through the origin, there's a slope of 3. Cool. Believe it or not, differential equations are extremely difficult to solve, right? Looking at this is a decent amount of work, right? But sometimes you can have wilder, crazier differential equations that just can't be solved analytically, right? Sometimes you might have to use a computer, and sometimes you might have to use a graph. And that's where we connect it to slope fields. Let's say we can't solve our differential equation, right? So I'm talking about this right here. So this, we did solve dy dx is equal to y over x, but let's pretend we didn't know how to solve it. We had no way of solving it. What we can do is kind of sort of graph it. So I'm going to go through some examples with all of you guys. Let's pick a point. Let's pick the point 1, 1. Okay? If we were to substitute these values into our differential equation, it would be 1 divided by 1, which is equal to 1. This is telling us that dy, let me switch colors, dy dx is equal to 1. Well, what does dy dx represent? Dy dx represents the slope. This is telling us the slope at this point, 1, 1, is 1. Well, on the graph, 1, 1 is right there. And if the slope is 1, it should look something like that. Let's pick another point. Let's pick 3, 2. Alright, if we substitute these values into our differential equation, we get 2 divided by 3. Our slope at the point 3, 2, 3, 2 is over here, is 2/3, which is a little bit slower than our slope of 1. Let's pick negative numbers. So let's pick -3, 1. So we go over to -3, +1. Let's substitute those values into our differential equation. This would be 1 divided by -3, or -1/3. So we know our slope is negative, and because our slope is a third, -1/3, it's going to be very slow. Let's pick another point, just to really hammer it in. Right, let's pick another point. Let's pick 4, -3. Where is that? 4 down 3. Let's substitute those values into our differential equation. We get -3 divided by 4. So our slope is negative and kind of slow. So it looks something like that. We can keep doing this process. We can keep substituting in values into our differential equation and graphing the slope. This is what a slope field is. So let me pull up a more completed slope field. This is our slope field. If we were to pick a ton of points, this is what our slope field would look like. But what does this mean, right? The slope field is a graph of the solutions, right? If we were to look around, we see like all these lines, but if we go back to our line over here, our solution to our differential equation was y is equal to 3x. We can kind of see that on our slope field, right? Y is equal to 3x, right? The solutions to our differential equation will lie inside the slope field right here. So if you couldn't solve a differential equation, if you graphed it, you can kind of see what the function, like the solution to the differential equation, would look like. So ours is a bit simple, so it's not super obvious what it would look like. But for example, if I change this to x plus y, right, we can kind of see, oh, it's like swirling along this line, right, and moving away from this line. This could be our solution to our differential equation, right? The shape that you see is the shape of the function that satisfies our differential equation. So that's what slope fields are. Kind of tied to slope fields and differential equations as a whole is Euler's method. So let me zoom out a little bit. It is connected to slope fields in that, let's say we can't solve a differential equation analytically, right? We don't have a method of solving it, but maybe we can approximate it. And that's what Euler's method is. This is taken directly from our textbook, so if you have a copy of our textbook, definitely look in chapter 7.1. But Euler's method is an iterative process. So that means that you have to do it a ton of times in order to have an idea of the solution of the differential equation. So the plan is, we are going to begin at a point x comma y, which is specified by our initial condition. So for example, our initial condition was 1, 3. So we would start at 1, 3. We're going to use the differential equation to find the slope, dy dx, at a point, similar to what we did over here, right? We would substitute in values. In this case, we substitute in our initial value. We're going to increase x by a small amount, delta x, and increase y by a small amount, delta y, where delta y is equal to dy dx, the derivative, multiplied by delta x, a small change in x. This gives us a new point that lies along the linearization, the line. Using this new point, we can kind of repeat this process. And by continuing to repeat this process, we're going to construct a graph that is approximating the solution of our differential equation. But what I wanted to talk about is this highlighted part, this delta y. Right? Why is delta y equal to dy dx times delta x? So let's zoom in over here. Right? This is our function, f of x in blue. Right? We have some point here, x comma y, our initial value. And let's say we move to the right some arbitrary delta x. Okay, well, the delta y over here, that's going to be delta y time, that's going to be delta x times dy dx, because we know delta y divided by delta x would be equal to dy dx. So if we multiply both sides by delta x, that's going to be the value for delta y, right? Our change in y. So by adding it to our initial point, we get this new red point, which is along the line. You can see that it's kind of close to this point in blue, right? The actual value of our function. So by continuing this process, we can come up with a ton of points in red